Oh, man, we got a redemption stream now. No hands. Look at this. We got multiple cameras. Thanks to my man Chuck for setting me up. Hopefully these edits and things that I did make up for the buffering scenario that we had earlier. I'm getting a lot of excellent connection via YouTube. I'm going to try to play some guitar here and see what happens. It looks like excellent connection all the way across the board. I'm really like super paranoid about, like I'm sweating. Let's see if this thing's going to buffer. All right, let's see if this stays the course. I can't tell yet. All right, are we doing it? Let's see. List for Eddie Trunk's survey on the best guitar. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, so I think we have two cameras now, and I think it's working, right? Break out the EVH. Yeah, the EVH will be coming soon. So can I look at this one and see you guys? That'll be super rad if I can. So what happened earlier was we tried to stream and ended up with all kinds of buffering errors and problems, and I felt super, super bad because all I wanted to do was talk about was the Diezel. You know what I mean? I wanted to get on here and nerd out about some amplifiers, and we started getting all these technical issues with YouTube and my rig, and man, I just really wanted to have something a little cooler for you. Looks like you have a couple of things to work out. Is it still buffering or is it not? The cameras are good. Yeah, dude. All right. Hey, thanks for the love, man. I'm trying to make this stuff really cool for you guys, and gosh, it's been a lot of work. I'm not getting to play enough guitar, and I'm working too hard on technical stuff. No probs so far. I like seeing that. So we got a couple of shutters, but the capture display shows some of the controls. Oh, over here, right. So like if I put my finger there, you can see the controls. I gotcha. It's just my iPad. Okay, cool. I'm trying to fix the internet, man. Much love to my man, Headless Torso. Y'all see him in the chat. That's my dude. So the fact that we're actually working and up and flying right now, man, all the crispy high fives go to Headless Torso right now. So, yeah. Let's pick up where we left off today. Do you use the compressor with the lead sound? Yeah, here is the Herbert on. I'm playing through the Diezel Herbert right now. I think you can see it in my small camera. It's back there, right? That's what we're playing through, and we're on the sound and video for Timothy's not synced up. Okay, I can't focus on too many things at once, or I'm just not gonna get anything done. I'm gonna be terrible at this. So right now I'm playing through the Herbert on channel 2 in the plus position. And that is without the compressor, okay? And now I'm going to step on the compressor. It adds almost that sponginess. Yeah, so it adds like this kind of cool little spongy thing that happens. Here's the middle position of the two coils. I love that we're this close to the guitar now. Check that out. And now I'm going to step on the compressor. Again without. And then with. All right, I'm going to go to a different position. I've got a push-pull on this guitar right here. We're going to go to series parallel on this back humbucker. That's without. And now I'm going to step on it. It's really cool, man. And it makes like crazy licks a lot easier. Like those kind of things where it gets real stretched out. And sometimes you just graze over a string. A compressor can help make that stuff pop. Yeah, the Carl Martin's first thing in the signal chain. Yeah. So man, isn't that cool? So now we're fixed. I feel like we can play some music now. How like touch sensitive this amp can be. Yeah, good, man. Sloppy. All right. So that's yeah, man, that's that Herbert just ripping, dude. That's the channel 2 in the plus mode, which is one of my all-time favorite tones, man. That tone just rules. I'm using a Universal Audio aux. Thanks to Headless Torso for getting this stream situation, this tech stuff figured out, at least to limp through till we get a new computer. I'm getting my trackpad here, move some things around on my desk. I like having this right here. Like I can see you guys now, poke at you, which is awesome. Now when I give crispy high fives, you can actually get them. Look at that. Boom, look how crispy that is. All right, cool. Now I'm going to hit some chat. As I mentioned earlier, thanks to all of you guys for aiming me in the right direction for things like Super Chat and teaching me how to stream and bearing with me. I'm trying to do this for you guys, man. I really want to connect while we're all in lockdown and take this time to learn how to do some stuff, do some new stuff, and get better at streaming. Taking questions, opening them up, and I'm going to take just a couple of questions from you guys, and then I'm going to open up my Patreon questions. Don't get the jam play. They chart out a bunch of extraneous stuff. That's what he says, extraneous. That's a great word. All right. Thank you for that. Helps me decide I want all the fluff. What pick do you use? This. Right? And then, excuse me, a bad sneeze just out of nowhere. It caught me off guard. And then I use, that's the pick that I use when I'm just throwing them in the audience. I use these blue chips when I'm at home. Keeping the delay out of the way of the notes. This is a great question. This is a Skirns 11. This one's coming at you. What I like to do with delay is make sure not to get too crazy with the mix. But I set one side. What you're getting is a stereo signal from the aux, even though the Diezel's coming in mono. I'm using the aux to, that's by Universal Audio. It's a load box with some software that sounds really good. I set one side to around 375, and that's not an exact number. Like if it's like 371 or 382 or whatever, set that up, And that's one side. And then the other side is at 500, right? And then from there, you get this nice, check it out. Oh, sorry. I'm an idiot. I have my tuner on. Here we go. If you're listening on computer speakers or headphones, you should hear that bounce back and forth. Right? Yeah. And that's how it's staying out of the way when I go to play anything fast, right? That's always like a judgment riff for me. I've got to be able to play that riff and my sauce and reverb and delay not get in the way, because it's an articulate riff. I've got to be able to hear all those notes, right? Same way with like if I'm alternate picking a lot of stuff. Yeah, so that kind of thing. We can see your screen computer in your Sir guitar. Oh, can you? That's awesome. Boom, look at that. That's like screen within a screen within a screen. Look at that. Yeah, so that's kind of how I do it. Let's see here. Adam Wright, man, I missed a couple of questions here that help. Thank you. That helps me decide I want to fluff. For example, he shows a hybrid picking, chicken picking, and you guys are having a chat amongst yourselves. Sorry. S. Hodges, Andy, can I run a 2-amp, 1-cab setup with an AB box through the aux? Hey, Hodges, man, crispy high fives to you. Here's the thing. You got to always have a load on your amp, right? For that, you can have it on a cabinet, but with an AB box, you're not switching. One will always be without a load. Does that make sense? Now, I think there is a way to have, say, a Sir reactive load. This thing right here, right? And that can be on one amp that you're not using. When you switch it over, maybe the aux could be the load for the other amp. Now, with that said, you run the risk of when you're switching, there is that moment where there's not a load and they're switching the load over. I wouldn't recommend that. Tim Pierce has got a cool amp switching setup, but now he's got all these cabs and stuff underneath his studio, essentially. You always just need to make sure, no matter what you're doing, both tube amps have a load on them. So the aux isn't like a 2-amp in. Does that make sense? Excuse me. You have to have 1 amp into the aux. It's only got 1 input. So any kind of A/B switching you're going to have a load on the other side. I hope that's very clear to you. I tried to make that as clear as possible. I'm not Dave Friedman or John Sir, but that's what I think needs to be the case. Want to see you play over deeper changes chord-wise. I'm so good at melodic. Oh, thank you. I don't really know what kind of changes you'd like me to play over. When I'm sitting here streaming, I'm just playing off the top of my head. So I don't know if does that in reference to maybe my songs? That's for Wakadu. Or if it's just like, for right now, you just want to see me blow over a bunch of changes. Like, I'm not the guy that's going to sit here and blow over Countdown or something like that. It's like, I need to sit and woodshed some of those deep bebop tunes. I went to school for jazz, and there for a while I could kind of navigate some Charlie Parker tunes fairly easily. But if you're talking about just sitting here unaccompanied, blasting through some Coltrane matrices, I mean, that's a lot for about anybody. Cool new cam. Thanks, Deacon. Yeah. Andy, I use the Mesa head track. I believe it might do that. Yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure exactly what all that entails. Adam Wright says play solar. I don't know what that means. Is that in reference to Ola's guitars? Can I play the final arpeggio of Jump that like I do with Skank Banger? You've got me confused with somebody else. I'm not the guitarist for Skank Banger. That's Ashley Licks. I think he plays it like this, though. Right, so you've got the first set of arpeggios that are this shape. Right, those are the triplets. And those are just triads. I'm always speaking intervallically. Like if you're looking at Jump, and of course this guitar is tuned to standard, but this would be like a G major triad. So that's like 5-3-1. And there's a first inversion, I think, C triad. Actually, that's second inversion, right? Because 5's on the bottom. And then we slide back and do an F triad. And then the other shapes are around the F and the G there. So it's all of those shapes, right? One more time. There's the F one. Okay. And then the last lick is so that shape is really fun, right? That's the right hand lick to Jump, and that's kind of like a sus2 kind of thing. When I say sus2, for those that don't know, I always try to temper the difficulty for the chat so everybody can play along, right? So if you know this kind of D shape, right? Let's slide that up to C, which is here. And then we have the 5 right here. I always call that the Jessica shape. Right? And now what we're going to do is we're going to make a suspension, a sus2 suspension, where it has this thing. Right? And that just basically we're adding a 9 to the chord. Right? But it's a suspension because it wants to go to that third. Right? So this arpeggio shape eliminates the third, and we play 5, 1, 9, 5. And if you've got a fret wrap on, you can just play it with one hand. Right? So it's that kind of thing. If you want to work on your cross picking, you can try to cross pick it. Sweeping it. Sorry. Trying to get all those notes really defined and clean. So that's the by request, Van Halen by request. That's the Jump solo. And then, you come out of that right back into the top of the tune. Just touching up some tuning here, speaking of being in tune. Okay, Miles Davis Solar. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I totally misunderstood. I thought you were talking about gear. I'm sorry. Dang, you can do Eddie Van Halen all day. I love Eddie Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen is my guy. He is definitely one of the greatest guitar players in the history of mankind. And I think we're all very fortunate to be alive in all of the trillions of years of Earth. We are fortunate to be alive when Eddie Van Halen is also alive. Andy, might seem elementary to some, but thanks for the lesson on this. Del McCurry G Run. Oh, yeah, cheers, man. I think it's really easy sometimes for really advanced players or intermediate to advanced players or guys that are in school to get online and just start, I call it a sus2, sus9. I mean, I call it a sus2 because it's coming up. I mean, 9 puts it in an octave away. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way my brain thinks of it. I'm going to finish my thought, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's really easy to get super nerdy and super advanced, and then all of a sudden everybody else in the chat room feels like they're left out. I don't want that to be the case. I want, if you jump into my stream and you're jumping into my chat and you're not like mega freak show John Petrucci, 2.0 running around, I want you to still feel like you can get some good stuff. So, if you are that good, please make content so I can learn from it. You know what I mean? So this is my thought on why I'm calling it a sus2. I want it in the same octave, right? If I was doing sus9, my brain would think, here's root 3, 5, 9. That's sus9, and like that sounds like sus2 sounds like it needs to be this thing, right? Just like right here. Right, that to me is sus2. So Andy Perez, it's not 9-2, tomato. You know what I mean? That's the thing, right? What pickup do you use on the arpeggios? I think you could use whatever you like. I mean, I think it sounds really rocking on the bridge pickup. I think it sounds cool and throaty on the neck pickup. I think it's cool on the two insides. You hear me kind of sneak. This is one of my favorite shapes that I do. And I add the extensions with my right hand. In the 80s shred video, I break that down, how you can use both. Where you can get that thing going on. Where you're using both. That thing is really cool. Can I show us the Europe Final Countdown solo? I sure could, but I have to relearn it. I don't know it off the top of my head. I have a bad tendency to forget everything. So I can't do it right off the top of my head, but I probably could if I just took 10 minutes to learn it. We all learned something right there. Okay, good. Hey, let's dive into my Patreon questions. Those guys are super rad. And if you guys want your questions jumped to the top of the list, this is how to do it, baby. Get on that Patreon. Get in the super chat. Okay, here we go. Let's coming at you right now. I like seeing the guitar. You guys like this Cobra Kai shirt? Look at that, man. So cool. Is it T's Republic? That's where I got that. Okay, this is from Corey. Corey says, Andy, a theory question to fill in the blank for me. The Woodshed episode 2, E.J. Bonamassa, has changed my approach as to how I look at patterns and phrasing. However, in order to keep up with the language you use when speaking in quote-unquote intervals, I need to clear up one thing. When you call the G the flat 7 in A, your point of reference is the A major scale, meaning G sharp would be the 7 in A major. But if you flat the 7, it becomes G natural. Is this the correct way I should be thinking in regards to intervals? Absolutely. That is absolutely correct. And for those that don't know, I think intervallically when I'm trying to play and improvise. So, for example, don't let that scare you. Let's play through the major scale. Right? And you can play through it, and I advocate learning it in big advocate for both fingerings, any fingerings you can in any position, right? So it's not really tying a specific finger and a fret to a sound. It's tying the interval to the sound. Like here is 1 to 3. We're in the key of A. See how it's the same note? This gives me 2 ways into 1, 3, 5. This gives me 2 notes per string on the bass string and 1, or 1 string and 2 notes. Here's the 2 first. 1, 3, 5. Okay, here's the 1 note and 2 notes. You see how I played both things. It's the same harmony, right? Played with different fingerings. So when I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Now when I hear a chord, let's say like a Mixolydian sound, or let's just say I'm playing over any kind of A rock groove. Anything like that, I automatically can tell that because we're playing G, that that seventh is going to be a flat 7, a dominant 7, a minor 7th, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a whole step below the root. So all of that noodling was played with the major scale, and the only thing I altered was every time I was going to play a 7th, which is G sharp, I played G natural. And so that allowed me to just play freely throughout any major scale, any A major scale, and just play G instead of G sharp. And as you can tell, I'm not using any passing tones. It's all... That was the first passing tone I used. Right? So that's how, in that, you would play. You're right on the money, Corey. So there you go. Next question for Patreon. Off the top of my head, can I name a few records that have been the most impactful to my playing? Quote unquote, I listened to that record and things changed for me forever. Yes, I can. These are my most impactful records. Sam Bush, Glamour and Grits. Tony Rice Unit, Manzanita. I can't decide which Bela Fleck record. Mark O'Connor's New Nashville Cats. Eric Johnson, Avia Musicom. Van Halen Best Of. I know that's not... I'm not allowed to say Best Of, right? But it really was. Like, I got on the Van Halen train like after I'd already been playing for a long time. So it was like... I'd been playing music for like 15 years. I never heard Van Halen, you know, but I grew up playing bluegrass and country and stuff. And those are big ones. Those are big guitar records. Obviously there's other records that are non quote unquote guitar records. Things like, Brooks and Dunn. That's not really a guitar record, but like the greatest hits of Brooks and Dunn. And I learned so much from that. Joe Diffie, so much of that. That's all the country influences, right? And then when it comes to like rock records, Led Zeppelin, I can't decide if Physical Graffiti was more impactful or if the Four, the Stairway to Heaven one. Probably the Stairway to Heaven one. And Eagles' Hell Freezes Over. I just thought that was a beautiful record, beautiful way to play a bunch of their hits acoustically, and the vocals are just immaculate on that. So those are top choices for me. Journey, a lot of that stuff. Okay, cool. On to the next one. Chris says, live stream question. Andy, has Danny Gatton been an influence to you at all? Besides him just being awesome and all of us still shaking our heads that he's not around, correct? Is there some aspect of his playing that changed your thinking? Danny had really slick ways of getting around flat fives, those kind of things, or those pedal tone patterns. And of course the those kind of licks. Obviously, it doesn't sound right with all this distortion, but those types of things were really the Gattonisms that I got. And of course, he had great ways of sliding in, bebop things. Let's see. What's a good Gattonism? I'd have to think on it just a second. All of this stuff built around the 6. Anything that's that kind of thing. All those are like the licks that I always think of when I think of Danny. Obviously, with the gain, it doesn't sound right, but, whatever. Let's see here. Here we go. This is from Jay. Jay says, how come amps come with built-in reverb when some people don't even use reverb? And a lot of people that do use reverb, they use it in a pedal. Am I missing something? Jay, you're not missing anything. If you're a country or blues player, you tend to like the amp from the amp reverb because the tubes and the chassis are shaking the spring in the amp itself. Those old Fender amps have spring reverb. And that interaction of everything being inside the same tank and the same shell creates a certain interaction of the reverb with the guitar, the amplifier's tone, right? Other guys, this is more in my realm, like a more refined tone where reverb is added at the end of the entire delay, at the end of the entire signal chain. I put it after everything. I don't like it, anywhere else, and I don't use gobs of it. Plenty of guys do and get great tone or whatever, but I don't use gobs of reverb. I like it just to sound as if I was in a nice room. And even then, most of the time, that's only applied to a studio setting. In general, when I'm playing live, I don't need reverb at all because I'm in a room. It's like you're playing on a stage at a theater. That theater provides, reverb in and of itself. As far as pedal reverbs, yeah, man, things like the Strymon reverb, really, really great. You can get by with things like a Hall of Fame, TC Electronics Hall of Fame. That's a good bang for the buck reverb. But once you get into some of those like H9 reverbs, that's the Eventide, they start making your guitar sound like it's an IMAX, and that's pretty cool. And that does come with a price tag. It's a great reverb. Those old H3000 units, great reverb in them. I think the Axfex has great reverb. I think the fractal effects are really, really good. Very, very good. So, yeah, let's hit another Patreon question. Oh, we got a top chat question. Adam Wright, was there any one thing that you studied? Hey, cheers, Adam. Crispy high fives. Was there any one thing that I studied to get my alternate picking together? Sounds like there's some Paul Gilbert in my shed. Obviously, Paul is Paul and he influences everybody. But I learned to alternate pick from bluegrass and bluegrass standards. Like that's kind of where I learned to alternate pick. That'd be a cool line, right? All of that's where I kind of got my alternate picking. And if you look, it's really not that drastically different from Steve Morse. I think this tune goes like this. It's been a long time since I played this. A little stress fest for you. It's one of my favorites. I haven't played it in a long time. I need to go learn. But so when I learned to play alternate picking, I was playing a lot of bluegrass and acoustic stuff, mandolin, acoustic guitar and whatnot. So when I went to electric guitar, guys that picked everything, like Steve Morse or Paul Gilbert and dudes like that, they were huge influences and easy for me to digest because I could hear the articulation of everything. Where things got really squirrely for me was when I started hearing guys play like... When I heard those licks, I was like, what in God's name is happening? Because I don't understand how there's no pick and there's no anything. The first time I saw Steve Vai like and hold his hand up in the air, I was like, I don't even get that. So, working on legato took me a lot longer. Yeah. Morse is a god, he says. Some Dixie Dregs around 2011 with T. Lavitz. Yeah, dude. I try to remember the other day. Yeah, so there's a Steve Morse lick from the Night of the Living Dregs me and Ben were talking about the other day. I'm trying to recall it right now for you guys. Yeah, I think it goes like that. I forgot this part. Yeah. Yeah, so this is how he walks down over the cashmere changes. I'm not very warmed up on this, so you'll have to bear with me. But the lick is like that, right? So he's outlining his arpeggio. I'll try it. I think I'm going to butcher it. Yeah. I can't do it. I can't do it without warming up. That takes a lot of practice for me. I actually had it and posted it on my Instagram, and I can't do it now, so I'm a total phony. But yeah. Yeah, but that's the lick. Something like that. Yeah. So let's go to a couple more of the Patreon questions. Man, this is good, man. Thanks for chiming in and let me get some retribution from earlier today. I really desperately wanted to not have the technical issues that I had. Sean says, Andy, how about a few tips on pedal steel licks, how and where to use them? Also, how and where to use chromatics. I enjoyed your live stream with the mandolin. Cheers, Sean. And then right below it, Matt says, Andy, how did a man from Tennessee become an avid Bears fan? Does it have to do with the city of Chicago? Am I also a Bulls, Cubs, or Sox fan? I am an Atlanta Braves fan. When I used to watch baseball, I don't watch it anymore. I am a Bulls fan, but again, I don't watch basketball anymore. So the Bears thing, I'm loyal because I'm a child of the 80s and, Refrigerator Perry and Jim McMahon, all those dudes. So being born in the 80s is like why I'm a Bears fan. And I just stuck with them. Yeah, let's hit some pedal steel licks. Let me slide back to the Diezel. All right. They're not going to be in tune because this has a floating tremolo. So I'm prefacing that. That's a fun one. Let's talk about that one. So when you have when you bend up, you can bend to this because when you bend the standard D position, if you bend it far enough, that root will go up a whole step, and the third will go up a half step. So if I had that coming out of a tag, like, it's kind of a cool Dwight Yoakam thing. You know what I mean? Kind of got the Bakersfield vibe going on. Another obvious pedal steel bend is when you, a classic is when you play the root and the fifth in your pinky. We're in the key of D. And then we take the third here and we're playing this. Oh, you hear the tremolo moving. That's okay. That's another one where you can bend. You can play the 7th in your 3rd finger. Let's go to the key A. You can play the 7th in your 3rd finger and bend with your middle finger, pull it down to the 3rd, and you get that sound. Obviously, it's moving the tremolo all over the place. This type of stuff is why you play that guitar right there. That's the reason for that. Let's talk about chromatics. Yeah, hit the like button. Thanks, Jason. I'm really not great at self-promotion. I wish I was better. But we have 93 active viewers right now. If everyone would just go hit subscribe and hit like, that will do me a world of help. So let's talk about chromatics. If you don't like it, don't hit it. I don't know what to say. First things first is I decide if I've got a 7th that's major, or I've got 3rd major minor, right? Then 7th if I want major 7, or if it's a dominant 7. So when I look at chromatics, one of the things that I look at is the flat 5 and where it's at and how I can play around it. Let's just talk about that. Right, we're in A. It can also be here. When I play it by itself, it starts to give a Lydian vibe. But that's not the intention. The intention is to use it as a passing tone. So instead of playing... That's all very pentatonic-y. If I want to break that up, I will use maybe a 6 and then slide down with a flat 5. You'll probably hear me play this a million times. That's a nice little slippery chromatic thing. Very old school country kind of thing. But in general, when I'm looking at chromatics, I love this shape because it's really easy on the fingers for playing four half steps in a row. Or 3, yeah, 3 or 4 or 5. Right? Another place to play that. Kind of give a different tone when you're playing up there. And sometimes when I'll do chromatics, I'll play those pedal tones back and forth. So I'm always just aiming at like when I've got to resolve something for chromatics. But yeah, I like any time where I take advantage of the guitar's natural tuning, where you have that thing. Again, there's the flat 5. Right. So, yeah, that's kind of how I would look at some chromatic things. And, yeah, so that kind of wraps up our little Patreon section for right now. If you guys want to jump over to Patreon and join up over there, I got a lot of cool things. I got some backing tracks. I'm always uploading backing tracks. I'm always uploading, Axe Effects settings, things like that. And obviously by request, anything you guys want want to hear or see out of me content-wise, that's the direct line to kind of get that that video that you wanted that you may have on your mind. Let's kick that amp back over into rockin' mode. Yeah. One more time on that one. Cool sound right there to work over a 251. I use that sound a lot when I'm playing Spain. It's like using, altered, you know what I mean? Kind of using like an augmented sound to lead to that, you know? If you could be any superhero, who would it be, and who would you pick, and why would it be Jimmy Olander? Exactly. Yeah, Jimmy Olander rules, dude. He's one of the best bender players I've ever heard, man. Jimmy played with Diamond Rio and was just awesome. Cheers, Tim. Yeah, I see Timothy out there. He said, I don't know if I'm inspired or depressed. Oh, well, man, if you guys want to hear like any kind of special something, let me know. One more time. Yeah, man. Oh, man. Cheers. Cheers, Deacon. Deacon Fuse, man. Crispy high fives. Love it. Let's see. Missed the earlier stream. Man, the earlier stream was a nightmare. It was just jumping on and off, and it was just total pain in my butt. Okay, so Jason is saying he really enjoyed and learned a lot from the Thirds video. It's crazy to finally understand what you've been playing and didn't know it. Yeah, for sure, man. Any questions on that, let me know. I'll be glad to try to answer them for you. Can I play the rhythm from It's Our Time Now? Dude, I don't even remember how that song goes. I think it was in drop C, so this guitar won't do it. Andy wants some Derek Trucks style stuff. Okay, cool. Diezel Herbert or VH4? This is a Diezel Herbert. That's what this is. Last phrase is not really Derek-y. He would never really play. He's not really that kind of rock guy. He would play more like yeah, he wouldn't really play. He really wouldn't be that. That's more of like a Sykesism. Or like more of a Gary Mooreism, yeah. Yeah, the Derek thing's all about like outlining some. When he's playing the pretty stuff. That's like an ultimate Derekism, right? Like when Derek plays angry too, it's really cool where it's like, I love those, you know. Yeah. So yeah, that's some like Derekisms. Can you show us how you do the slide playing without the slide? Frank, I'll try my best. Man, Another person throwing some dough at me. Cool, man. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate the support. Just trying to hang out with you guys on a happy Mother's Day. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's talk about that slide thing real quick. The biggest thing with the slide thing is what goes on in the right hand. Okay, so anybody would play. Let's see. Right, and they would play. Simple enough, right? The trick is over here. I tuck my pick in between my first fingers, right? And then from there, I roll into the note like that. That's kind of what's starting it off with ghost notes. And start by trying to get your vibrato to sound real singing. Slide vibrato is usually a little faster than finger vibrato, so I'm not playing not that wide, slow thing. It's a little more. You see how much of it's happening over here? Are you guys getting that? Yeah, I do have calluses built up on my picking hand. That's exactly what's causing that. See, it's all in the right hand. So many things happen in the right hand. It's totally different if I play that style with a pick. It still sounds okay, but it doesn't sound as accurate. Check it out. Much of it is like right here. Yeah. How hard am I fretting? Not real hard, just hard enough to get the note. Just hard enough to get the note, you know. Do I teach Skype lessons? Yes, Adam, I do. If you wouldn't mind to jump over to my Instagram, that's where I do my booking for the Skype lessons. Slide into the DMs over there, and yeah, we'll get you set up. Obviously, it ends up being more, you know, depending when we get to go back on the road. But yeah, get over there. We'll book one. It'll be awesome. Deacon says, can you do some of my tune Got a Light on my next stream? Yeah, man. So Got a Light's cool. I'll teach you a little bit of it right now. That riff is pretty easy enough to figure out. I think my Tom Morello influence is showing there. I really like Tom Morello and his riffs. The next part's where it gets a little more A wood, and that's where we go to C. And it turns into that Lydian thing. Now we're going to go to C minor. And the last note bends up to major. And we're back to C major, right? Then the arpeggio of doom starts. Let's break that down. This will be a fun one for you guys to take home with you today. This is built out of C major 7. So let's take the notes right here. C. So that's 1, 3, 5. And then we're going to play major 7. Everybody see that? That's working good for you. And then up top, we've got that kind of this shape again. Remember we were talking about that earlier with the jump thing? Same kind of deal. So it starts off, and I keep an eye on the right hand. And then I alternate pick all of the back of it. Is that nice and clear for you guys? Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? So again, it's at around a C major 7, 5, 3, and then root, then major 7, 5, 3, root. So it outlines itself, right, twice. And then when you play the third, you go back up to the 7 and 5 again. Right? Oh, sorry, I pulled my cord out. That's funny. That's the arpeggio right there. Oh, I suck. And then we move it up to the next position. Kind of an inversion of it. But this time I'm playing kind of a sus2 sound. Yeah, so here it is slow. Slow. And now we're going to play the whole set in minor. And then the last shape is different, the only one that's different. And that's a minor 7. That's a big jump. That's root to 5th. Minor 7, remember. Here's a pro tip. I play both of those. I don't ever roll my finger. Or rarely will I roll my finger. I'm always playing 2 notes on a fret. So here's how I play minor 7. So I can do that. You hear me play those things a lot. Ah! Yeah, those kind of things. So here we go. Yeah, yep. I will do the picking in just a second. Yeah, the picking pattern. So the last shape is minor 7. And then it ends on a 9, right? So here's the picking pattern. Do you guys love this new camera setup or what, dude? Check this out. This rules, doesn't it? There you go. Now you can see all of it, yeah? Is that working for you? Is that getting good to you? One more time. Try to get up to speed, please. Sorry, I got sloppy. Yeah, so it goes by just at like nuts speed. It's probably not that fast on the record. You know, it's probably definitely not that fast on the record. So does that answer all your questions right there? Are you good? That's the climb right there. You know what I'm saying? Kind of get used to where you're just playing all day long, you know. Have a conversation while you do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's pretty cool. I need to start playing that tune live in shows. You know what I mean? I haven't played that one out. I've been touring with a banjo player and fiddle player, and I think that would sound really cool on banjo and fiddle. Great practice to slow or fast. Yeah, man. Still using blue chips. Yeah, man. This is for Erden. It's the 55 is the thickness that I like. Cool. Deacon, cheers. Chris High Fives. Psh, I think I could see it better about a minute ago where you had the guitar. Can't see it. Oh, sorry, man. Did I mess it up? So do I need to do it again? You let me know if I need to do it again, and I'll be glad to. I'm still, just kind of hanging out. Let me lift the chair up, maybe. Oh, I went the wrong way. So stupid. There we go. Maybe that's better. Gosh, I feel super, super high now. Lean down into you guys. Yeah, we'll definitely be watching this over and over again. Man, yeah, maybe if you guys want any of this stuff to be on a Woodshed episode, I'd be glad to do it for you guys too. Maybe that's the thing. All right, so let's go up. The chat is just rolling, dude. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see. Stretcher has one. Fingers Cosmo has one. Forearm Contour. Yeah, I totally agree. I have to remember Andy has put in hours, days, years of dedication, boredom, and lack of things to do. Do I ever play the White Tree on guitar? Yeah, I mean, it is a different fingering, but I've never tried to play it on guitar, but maybe. Can I talk about the Eminence Wheelhouse speakers? Is it good for warming up a bright Fender amp? Absolutely. The Eminence Wheelhouse is what's in this Sir Bella right here. And it's really good for combos because it's got a lot of headroom, and you can wind up the amp, and the speaker never breaks up. You don't get any cone cry or anything like that. Braxel, you got it, man. I will put that on a future episode of The Woodshed. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Thank you guys for jumping on the Redemption stream and hanging out. I really appreciate you all. I just felt like, man, I needed to get back in here and get some technical stuff situated and try some new things with the camera. Can I do Eugene's solo to defeat Jack Butler? I can try, I guess. I'm not really that guy. I don't really remember all of it. I may have to skip around. I remember. Something like that, right, was the front of it, right? I think the second part was... Let me put on neck pickup. This is the part that I don't remember. I don't know that thing, man. I need to go back and learn it. That's a really good one, though. Really cool section. Yeah, whatever. I'm not good at it. I need to practice it. Like everything else, we all need practice, right? Any other questions other than trying to make me play things from memory that I'd once upon a time learned, but I don't recall these things. I don't know. Whatever. Am I always miking up a cabinet on here, or do I ever use IRs and Loadbox? That's from Dad the Gamer. Dad the Gamer, I'm actually using Loadbox right now. I'm using the Universal Audio aux. That's what I'm doing. So, yeah. He says Vi can't play it now anymore due to a wrist injury. I don't know if it's due to wrist injury or it's just a really high level of difficulty, you know. Frank says that was amazing off the cuff. I don't know. Man, that's the thing, right? Can we talk about something that I think is really important right now, which is a player's watermark? By that I mean, you guys get online. I know you do. I do it. And you think, holy cow, that guy's incredible. We forget that they have taken 5,000 takes at something. Then they've gone in and edited the audio, and they've polished that up. So unless you're seeing something with room mic in it, or you're seeing something live in the moment, then it's hard to trust what the player's actual watermark is. And I'm not saying that I'm good, and I'm not saying anybody else is bad. Let's just establish that out of the gate. But what I am saying is that when you see a video that has been a lot of takes, you know, we don't see that many takes, right? We just see the final take. And especially when the audio is like crispy, perfect, everything, that's because they've went in and pushed notes. Like if I were to play something like that, like every note's not exactly the same volume. That's human. I feel like I'm a pretty good alternate picker, right? And every note still isn't like MIDI file. And when we do hear those MIDI file things, those have been edited. Now, there's nothing wrong with editing whatever you want. What I do think is it is definitely a telltale sign when you see some guys try to play off the cuff and it falls apart. That means that there's way more editing than there is player. So their lukewarm, if you will, is way lower than what they've presented. Now I'd like to brag on guys that really are the goods. Ariel Posen. That guy's incredible. If you get on his Instagram, there's a lot of camera mic audio. He just can play. There's a lot of videos of he and I jamming, all improvised, all off the cuff. He's good. He's incredible. Joe Bonamassa. You guys say what you want. If you love him, great. If you don't like his playing, great. But you can't say that he's not an incredible musician. I think Joe, facility-wise, when he is off the cuff, it's still way close to the top. Steve Lukather, still very close to the top. I think in Instagram internet culture and in edited video culture, man, hell, half the time I see guys making video covers and they're not even plugged in, you know, or they're miming along to a previous take. Like, that's not cool. That's not what I think is reassuring that player is really great. A lot of time, like, I want to get into the aspect of inviting players onto the stream and play live, but, like, I know Tom Quell would do it because Tom can sit down and burn. There's no magic, no fakery going on, right? And his watermark's really high, and, like, you know, that's the kind of thing that I consider like the real level of player. You're very kind to say that I sounded good on the Eugene trick bag, but I didn't. I haven't played that in freaking 5 years, or I play it occasionally, noodling around on my couch. But it's not something that's like I polish and rehearse every single day like my tunes. Like if I start butchering Truth and Lie or the arpeggios, you heard me just like I consider pretty effortlessly play the Got a Light arpeggios. Those are things I work on and keep those things up to date. My watermark, if you think I'm a good player or if you think I'm a terrible player, my watermark is probably close to the Eugene's trick bag. That's not something I work. That's just kind of there. So good or bad, we need to always be aware that when we see some highly produced, heavily edited video of someone's playing, that's not the mic camera. That's not the mic audio. That's heavily modified, and that's okay. But we need to keep that in mind, because a lot of times it'll make us crazy because we think the inhuman MIDI file is actually what somebody sounds like. That's not it. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to drag anyone through the mud. You can get online and look and make up your own mind for what you think is real and what you don't. But I just want you to keep that in mind. That's good to keep a good handle on what somebody's off the cuff is. If you want a great off the cuff, watch Andy Timmons play any of his songs. When it comes to the solos, he improvises, and I love it because he just rips and he's improvising effortlessly. That's true magic. That's true musicianship. And Mark Letary, true musicianship. When he starts improvising on his tunes, it's just stellar. Martin Miller, he can improvise his butt off. I think that's just really, really special. Because it's one thing to have something cooked up in a guitar profile that you learn or whatever, and even then go in and edit it from there to where it sounds like MIDI fakery. And it's another thing to jump on a live stream and just let it eat. Levi Clay's not afraid of it. I love that. I love that Levi there for a while was getting a lot of people getting salty with him, and all he was doing, he was like, "Hey man, if you can play, just get on the stream. Let's play." I think that's what I really like about hanging out with you guys and doing this stuff with you in the moment. This is a hang, man. I can't play shows for you guys. I can't come to your towns right now. This is a cool hang, and the off-the-cuff stuff I think is much cooler than, not that I'm going to not make woodshed episodes, but even in those, man, if I have something that's extremely difficult, I don't want you guys to think that I've edited it out. And all the crazy stuff in the 80s are the 80s episode, man, I left the camera room audio in. Like, you guys need to know that that's not being doctored up. Whether you think it's good or bad, I want you to know that it's authentic, right? That's really important to me. If you think I'm a terrible player and you hate my music and whatever, then cool, that's your opinion. But I don't want you to think that, oh man, Andy's great, and then it's not authentic. It not be actually what I'm doing. That's not cool. So it's cooler for you just to not like my playing, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah, so, yeah. Wayne Krantz, good Lord, yes. I just kind of went on a tangent, didn't I? I'm sorry. Sometimes things get close to my heart, and the guitar community needs to stay a positive space. And I think it's important that authenticity and honesty be at the forefront of the community, at least in my opinion. There was a really great video the other day of Yngwie trying out the Boss low box, and he just sat down and just let one of those harmonic minor licks fly. Off the cuff, Yngwie mounts it. It's just like, there is no trick, there is no fakery. He burns, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see somebody just own their lane and be really, really good. Not enough love I see online for guys like Dave Davidson. Man, dude, that guy rips. Great jazz player. People don't know it because he's in Revocation. He shreds his face off in that. But, yeah, he's a monster player in many different genres, many different styles. Yeah, so cool. Stay positive. I guess all I'm saying is just keep positivity at the forefront. Keep honesty at the forefront, Maybe I try to get some of these guys to stream with me. That'd be super fun, right? If one of you tech guys out there watching, is it just as simple as me cooking up a new stream key and giving them the stream key and then making a new one for when I go again? Or what's the most efficient way to have them jump into my stream? Is that something I need to do through Twitch, maybe? Is that something like that? I'd like to know, because maybe that I want to know if YouTube can do it on the streaming front. I'm new to this. I'm freaking new. Andy, what's the Les Paul hanging in the background? Oh, that's just a cheap copy. It's just a cheap copy of a Les Paul that I put some Sir pickups in. I think I found it at a trade show for a couple of $100, and it sounded awesome. It sounded really great, and it played great. So I was like, well, whatever. Cool little copy of a guitar, and you can sling it around and not worry if something happens to it. Sean Tubbs is one of my favorite players. Here's a great Sean Tubbs line. I'm going to give away one of his lines. He'll be mad at me. I love that one. And another Sean one is... That's a Seanism. Another Seanism is... Those things are very Sean to me. He loves those. Those kind of isms too. And he'll play out of diminished a lot. That'd be like some out here Sean do, I think. I'm definitely hip to trying to play in the style of somebody without having to quote it directly. That'd be definitely Sean-esque, I would imagine. He's a fabulous player. Good Lord. He's one of my favorite players ever. Like, Sean's incredible. And yes, he's dead honest, man. Let's see. Outside licks. Yeah, Dad the Gamer loves those outside licks. Me too, man. I think they're cool. What do I think about Doug Rappaport's playing? Man, I know Doug's a great player. I'm not really hip to his body of work. Maybe I need to be. Maybe I could get on Spotify and check out all of his body of work. I know Doug, if I'm not mistaken, all of the winter stuff. He's been playing with him. And I know Doug from seeing him demo certain amps, you know. But I don't know Doug's solo albums, and I need to. I love Doug as a person, and, man, his playing is absolutely on fire. So, yeah. Yeah, I love Tom Bukovac. Tommy's great, man. Let's see. Thanks for the love, Joey McCoy. Thank you so much, man. Let's see. Have I caught any of Tom's video? That's where I just was reading. Sorry. Have I caught any of the Tom Bukovac videos? Any thoughts? Pretty authentic. Absolutely. Tom Bukovac is the real deal. He is one of Nashville's finest. He is a great player. I love his videos and I love his hang. Hello, Okinawa. That's awesome. Crispy high fives there. Oh, good Lord. It looks like the buffering thing is back. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Do I think there are too many guitar players? No, never. It looks like the connection's starting to get a little squirrely. And we've been at this for about an hour and a half. I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. And I hope everyone has called their mother on Mother's Day. If you haven't yet, do it. I really appreciate you guys. I can't tell you, how much it means to have you guys tune in. If you're looking for my body of work, you could jump over to andywoodmusic.com. You can, of course, catch my tunes on Spotify, those kind of things. If you're looking for exclusive video content, that's over at Patreon. I do a lot of lick of the day type stuff. And then, stay tuned on this channel. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna do a new episode of The Woodshed tomorrow. On the menu is the Josh Smith thing. I had a lot of requests for this week to be the Josh Smith. So I'm going to analyze my little improv 12-bar. So I hope everyone's stoked for that. I hope everyone enjoys their evening. And, I think there's going to be, I hope everyone likes the new camera angle and some of the things we're doing there. We're going to be constantly upping the quality. I think the next move is to make sure that we got great internet. I'm going to touch base with Comcast tomorrow. I've got a Comcast business plan. I'm going to make sure that they're sending me what they should be, because I don't like that sometimes this buffering thing happens and we get some little hiccups. Not really hip to that. I hope everyone enjoyed the Diezel, the shredding on that. Be good to each other. Go out and enjoy your evenings, and we'll see you soon, all right? No, you're not late to the party, Jason. Well, you can. I'm gonna save this stream. This is my redemption stream for earlier today when everything kept crashing. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good hangs, man. I really appreciate all you guys so much. I can't say that enough. So hopefully we'll see you soon. And he says, Dad the Gamer saying, check out OBS. That's actually what I'm using. It's very flexible. Yeah, that's what I'm using is OBS. Yeah, so a guy says, I can't quit answering your questions. I'm so sorry. Not afraid of the humidity for your guitars all sitting out like that. No, man, I play them. I get them off the wall and play them. Like, it's no different in my house than they would be at Guitar Center. You know what I mean? They're like sports cars, man. If you don't drive them, they're just gonna sit there and rust. So I try to play all of them as often as I can. That's why I strung this guy up and played it today. Kind of always keeping it going. Appreciate you guys so much. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Patreon, Andy Wood Music, all that good stuff. Instagram, Andy Wood Music. Cheers.